pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, we come before you today, asking for your blessing, Lord, on this community and this body. Ask, Lord, that the work that we do this morning will be pleasing to you, and ask for your guidance, Lord, and always keep the best interests of our community and our county residents in mind as we go about this business. Ask all these things, Lord, in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Steve. All right. Have you had a chance to look at the minutes from August 13th of 2024?
Make the motion. Accept.
Second.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Good job, Tony. Lipton. All right. What else do you have for us, Tony?
I have the Allied Weekly Health Insurance claims, all medical, in the amount of $49,295.01, and I did verify the appointments. $49,295.01.
And that's all medical.
Yep.
Okay. All right, very good.
Motion to accept.
I'll second that.
Okay. Motion carries. Approve the medical claims.
Okay. And you all should have received the email on the accounts payable claims. Those are in the amount of $253,152.33.
Okay, you had a chance to go over those claims. Any questions, comments?
Reasonable to me. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
I handed out to you prior to the meeting, and I think members of the press got in, the report from Dan Hackman, the inspector for weights and measures, his monthly report. Looks like there were 123 total inspections. I'm going to enter that into the record.
All right. Any questions on that?
Make a motion to enter that report into the record.
Second.
Okay, motion carries.
Okay.
You know, since Dan came in and talked, I have a whole new respect every time I go somewhere and there's a scales involved. I'm thinking,
Yeah,
Dan's been here, we're good.
he's got a lot of.
I was just really amazed and impressed by all the things that he's involved with. Just
Mhm.
kind of blew me away.
Yeah,
God, when he was here, I asked him how many people Allen County has doing this. We have one. Allen County, he says, has two.
Wow.
Two inspectors for all of Allen County.
yeah.
Okay, that is all that I have. I think the other thing I gave to Clayton, he's going to do that under county attorney.
Okay, thank you, Tony. All right, Nate, do you have anything for us today?
Couple quick items here. Let's go through kind of the progress on some of the small structures. KBL did complete the concrete box installation we had last week on 800 South. That was put in. It looks pretty good right now. We're just waiting to get asphalt over the top of that one. KBL has started the culvert on 1000 South, just east of 400 East on Monday, and should actually have that completed today. So that road should be opened up here, hopefully any hour now. They should be out there still today. They are planning on moving over to culvert C40 or C430 tomorrow. That's the one on 1200 South, east of 500 East. So they're trying to stay in the same vicinity, and then they're going to be moving their way up north
Good.
here shortly. I'm trying to stay on top of those as best I can. So I'm going to go out there. I'm going to go look at the one on 1000 South again this afternoon, make sure that that's open up and ready to go. And then hopefully they'll get their equipment moved and start the next one. Ish Excavating is the one that's been working on or will be working on Salem Road. I know that pipe's been sitting there off to the side of the road for a couple of weeks now. Every time I talk to him, he's got another project that he's been held up on. So the start date keeps moving out. So lately I was told later this week, but I'm going to hold that promise loosely. So we'll see how things go. And then lastly on here, Bridge 27, Bickle Road, we have done the scoring and selection for a firm. I did get approval from NDOT that they're satisfied that we've done everything according to the federal standards. And the selected firm was Engineering Resources, Inc. out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. So they'll be the firm that we're gonna start the negotiation process with. I've reached out to them, notified them. Steve, I'm copying you on the correspondence regarding that, so hopefully given Howard's justification and the proposal from them. And I want to thank all the other firms for submitting on that.
Yeah.
For that process.
And then that contract will start at the first of the year? Or will it?
That won't, it'll start depending on, that one won't start until construction starts. So that one is inspection only on Bridge 27. So depending on when the construction would begin would be the effective date for that agreement. We can sign some agreements, but they won't start incurring any expenses to the county until actually that is done. So we'll do an agreement. Once NDOT says, yeah, that's the solid agreement, we can sign it. And then we'll turn that over agreement to NDOT, and then NDOT will have a parallel agreement that will secure us federal funds to reimburse for work that ERI is doing. So we'll end up having two agreements that will essentially be parallel. So, and I'll go through that with Clayton Woods, something that we've done with any other federal reimbursable grants. So,
Very good.
all right. So,
Thank you, thank you.
all right, any other questions for me?
Thanks, Nate.
Thank you.
All right. Brad, yeah, there he is. Brad?
I made it back.
All right.
Good morning. I just have one thing today and then just a couple updates. One permit for Campos EPC on behalf of NiceHorse, which is NIPSCO. If you remember those test holes they've been digging, they have another one. A spot they'd like to dig on 1000 North between US 27 and 100 West. And it's actually going to be right around the railroad tracks, but went out and looked and they dig a 10 by 10 by 6 foot hole, look at the pipe, do whatever they do, and then fill back in. So that shouldn't be an issue.
Good. You need a motion on that easement? Motion approved? Second.
Okay, motion carries.
What's that company called?
Campos EPC.
PC.
EPC, Campos EPC. And they're working for NIPSCO. Then just a couple other things. Distributor's working good, so this week we're hitting hard.
Good.
Tested the last week, a couple days, it went well. Now this week we're back to our normal pace, 4 loads of oil a day, so. And then the other thing, just as an update, if you remember, the railroad companies are redoing all the intersections where the tracks cross our roads, starting at the county line, going all the way to Bungie. And they have done 1200 north and 1100 north. Now, they're still rough because what they do is they come in, replace the track, and then they put down some big timbers and fill with stone. Once they get all the way in and get them all done, then they'll go back and do the paving and make it a nicer.
So those crossings are gonna be a little bit rough until they get.
Yes, they're still just as rough as they were before, but it's temporary
Gotcha.
until they get them all done, so.
All right.
So, yeah, so that's an improvement. Will be.
Good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very good.
And that's all I got.
All right. Thank you, Brad. All right, Rick, what'd you have for us today?
I got some invoices for the generator project. I'd like to get approval of getting paid. The first one's the transfer switch. It is at Everpar, so we do have it. The other one is the generator.
Those things that are already approved under ARPA,
Yes, sir.
there's enough left for that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I put the account and everything on them. Here's the other one.
Does it say how heavy that is?
15,200 pounds.
The transfer switch?
Oh, no. I was thinking it was anywhere between 700,000 pounds.
I was just looking at that freight.
Why did I think that generator was a lot more than that?
No.
We've been talking such big numbers for this project. I guess I assumed the generator was like $250,000 was in my head, but.
Yeah.
So that is for the
big
generator and transfer switch,
Okay.
which really concludes our business with Everpar.
Well, and then Shambaugh will be,
And I do have a bill here I want to present to you from Shamwell too.
but
Is that the labor?
This is, we have paid Shamwell, 130,000. Now they're asking for another 30, probably because of the set of that.
right.
So,
Rick, I assume there's a startup and all kinds of stuff that
Yeah.
goes along with this generator.
there is, they will be on site.
They being Evapar?
Yes,
Okay.
they will be on site when that generator gets
Okay.
started up, yeah. That's in our contract.
Good.
So Shambaugh is doing everything from the generator up to and including the transfer switch.
Correct.
And then Service Electric is doing,
Service Electric has very little to do yet as far as this project. Hardly any. So the rest of it will be Shamwell.
do you need action on these invoices today?
Like to get them paid in this.
Stan, I'll make a motion to approve
I don't think you need to make a motion or.
Think so?
It's already been approved.
If it's already been approved for ARPA.
If it's under the ARPA, the generator, it's all approved already.
I just wanted, what I wanted is.
I mean, if you want to do it, you can, but I don't think you need.
Go ahead and pay them. I just wanted you to know that they're here. I'm going to seek payment.
Well, you know, and for the sake of clarity, I guess, you know, for the current work that's been done and the current invoice that we've got, I guess, is it be inappropriate to take action on it or?
I mean, it's obviously, it's been approved, but I mean, you guys can make a motion to let Rick go ahead and pay him. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, approve the,
So move. Second.
okay.
The next one with you is kind of the same thing. It's for the generator project, and this is Shamwell. This kind of states what we paid, what they're asking for.
Thank you.
It's also ARPA or
Yes, sir. This will go right in with this. And I wrote everything on there, Tony.
And I assume you calculated to make sure there isn't.
I did.
Good.
Be good, yeah, thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
So they're just asking for, this is just for $30,000, is
That's
that correct?
correct.
So this is just $30,000 invoice,
Yes.
not a $160,000
No.
invoice? Okay.
That's just coming off their contract base.
Yeah.
Yes.
Make a motion to pay them.
Second.
All right, motion carries, thank you.
Okay, as far as the generator project, I was in contact with them this morning, Shamwell. They're just waiting for wire to come. They're hoping it should be here this week. Start pulling wire down the house. That's what's going on.
So it'll go through those big conduits that they've set out there. Okay.
Yep. And it start from the generator to that junction box, and then from that junction box down the alley. Yolanda's off this week, kind of a busy week. For some reason, I don't know why, but the men's bathroom at the courthouse has been plugged up. I rode a router in there a few times. Same thing here with the women's. It's open again. I don't know what's going on with them, but,
Is it anything with the underground piping?
well, I've had this one cambered.
Yeah.
It's clear.
Yeah.
I didn't have the one at the courthouse because I just had to get it unplugged,
Sure.
and he didn't have time to do it.
I wonder if that's old cast
It
iron
is.
piping yet?
I did the vents on our PVC. I have changed that over. but it's the cast iron going down.
Because sometimes they can get in there and ream that out,
Yeah.
clean it, but I don't know what.
That's the intentions I'm gonna have, hopefully it will allow it to function now, so.
Yeah.
There's just lots going on. Those are the main things.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Did they install those fire extinguishers then, or did they?
No, they were lacking, 3 of them in-house, so they're ordering them or.
Or wait till they get them all?
Yeah. Yep. And then we'll get them installed. The project that Mike Brown brought up last week, that's rolling. I mean, there's electrical stuff that's been going on over at the courthouse, so the UPSs came in.
Okay.
He has those in him.
And then we're gonna use the generator from Golden Meadows.
That's all in play. We'll be able to use the transfer switch, that generator. I will have to get well, they're gonna do it. It's in their price that Mike presented to you. There'll be a pad poured out for that to set on. And the location of that will be on the west side where you enter the building now. It's where the public enters it, right where the AC condenser went that we put in that room. It'll set right there.
Rick, is there a reason we don't use the east entrance to the courthouse anymore?
That was something that came into play, that COVID came in and security reasons. The sheriff elected to keep it closed, or they did over there, so Dan's here or not, but
I guess I would like to pursue that again. That's a pretty, but when the public looks at our courthouse, to me, that's the front
that's the
entrance.
entrance.
And when you walk all the way up those steps and see that sign that says this entrance is closed, that's pretty frustrating.
Yeah, and if you remember back, I put 2 signs up there too saying that entrance was closed.
Yeah.
Are your employees over there, you use that entrance, some of them, but it's open to the public.
I guess I'd like us to think about reopening that to the public.
Well,
That
if we
feels
could
like
have that
public
discussion.
service to me.
With the sheriff and the clerk.
Yeah.
That's really where that is.
Yeah. And
But we can
even
do that anytime you want.
if Jeremy and Judge Kugelhan want to have an input in that discussion too,
Yeah.
that'd be okay.
I really didn't have anything in it unless you tell me to go unlock it.
Nope, not telling you that.
Do we want to have that discussion in our meeting, or do you want to have a discussion with that group
If you,
privately
you know,
first? or-
if you want to, is it a safety committee discussion? You think?
Possibly. Shannon, do you think that's something we should bring up in the safety committee as far as the east entrance to the courthouse?
It could be, yeah. I think that the powers that be in that building could make that decision though, plus Dan. Yeah, I think that's appropriate as well.
Do we have another safety committee meeting coming up?
Scheduled right now.
So-
I can get one scheduled.
But wouldn't it be better to come in the front door to the back?
Well, and we can either have that discussion with the entire committee, or,
I hear you.
or
I
if
get
you
it.
think
I'm
it'd
not
be more
questioning that at all.
appropriate to have it.
I know that was
With
kind
the
of a
group
COVID
of-
issue and security issue and,
Smaller group.
and I just feel like from
Do
the
it either
public's
way.
perspective, I don't feel that's a good look
Just
for us.
especially with
And I
elections
think
coming up
that
on how we want to handle.
bailiffs set up at the other end.
Right.
There's typically a representative from each of those departments at the meetings, but it's not the department head. I think it would be maybe a conversation with the department.
And I know that's where the handicapped entrance is at the back, so I get that. If we have to close one, we had to close the one that did not have the handicapped entrance. I understand that.
All right. Very good. Thank you, Rick.
Thanks, Rick.
Hey, Rick, is the generator here now on site?
is.
It is now, it's in place, okay. I want to be sure.
Rick, is there anything else out at Golden Meadows that you have your eye on? I mean, we're gonna have that auction one of these days, and I wanna make sure we don't auction something off that you've got a claim to.
I can go back out there and look.
Well,
Right
whatever,
now, I don't have anything
whatever's in your mind, I wanna make sure that we don't miss, because I know that was something that you had asked for, was the generator. I know in Rick's head, we're gonna use the generator, so we don't want that nor the transfer switch to go through the auction. So I was wondering if there anything else.
We could go take a walk one day.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll schedule something.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Ed, what do you have for us?
Just a couple quick updates, sir. Morning.
Morning.
Taxes continue to come in. We're in a real good spot right now. A lot of people are starting to get early bird and paying their fall collection, which is good. We're getting fall collection payments in online every day. I go through those every morning when they come in, and it's amazing how many come in. Over the weekend and stuff, people think about it, it's getting close. So all that continues on. Of course, it's not due until November the 12th, but everybody that pays early makes it easier on us now and then as the rush time comes into. Property taxes as of the spring collection, we're at 99.0116, so we're in good shape. We are working on personal property judgments. This is taxes that businesses, farms, big factories, and their personal things that it's not real estate, it's personal property. And we've been working on that, and the judgments that are on that. In about 2 weeks, we'll be doing another year's work. That'll get turned over to our AFCS if they're not paid by them. But we've sent out courtesy letters on all of those. And we're getting some of those in too. And then the final thing I have is our tax sale. We are, last I told you, we had 20 that was ready to go. We're down to 16. We've had 3 pay, so they're current. And then 1 is the property on Monmouth Road that the commissioners are taking deed to. We got Judge Kugelhahn to sign all off on that. Angie from the auditor's office, she is working to get the actual deed that's going in your name, the commissioners' names. And so we can do whatever construction work we have to do with that ditch across the street. And then once that's all done and we're happy with everything, then you can determine if we want to put it back into the tax sale. It might be a year, 2, 3 down the road. There's no hurry on any of that.
So we currently have possession.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you
So that's all I have.
Okay.
Thank
you. Okay, Barb's not here yet. Mark's not here yet. All right, Clayton, do you have anything for us?
I have one thing. So I have a warranty deed, which will be from the Adams County Commissioners to the trustee of the Bekesto Cemetery. So to give you guys background information on 400, I believe it's 400 South. Yeah, East 400 South, right next to Spring Hill Church. There's the Bekesto Cemetery. Most of it is deeded to the trustees of the Bekesto Cemetery. It's sadly just, I think, a historical item that it was never a portion of it was never deeded from the county to Bekesto. So it's really just cleaning that up. Obviously, the warranty deed includes the legal description, and then we have the sales disclosure form attached. It's for the consideration of $1, just to clean that up with the trustees. So for now, I would just request a motion to approve that, and then I'll get all of your signatures and get it notarized after the meeting.
Second.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you very much.
There are frames on that property.
Yeah, we don't really care to.
Yes.
Hang those frames, that needs to be the cemetery. Yeah, so.
The county pays $1, right? We pay $1.
It's just a final.
Yeah, it's just a number.
The trustees pay $1.
Yeah, it's historically some
Nothing right
mix-ups with the cemetery.
Or whatever.
Legal description of the church, legal description. Anyway, working with Dave Baumgartner, Baxter Cemetery and the church, we got that straightened out.
Good.
This is the final piece to that.
Very good. Thanks for your work on that. Okay, anything else?
I don't have anything else. Mark, do you?
All right, it looks like Barb and Megan are in here. you're welcome to come on up if you'd like. I know John's not here yet unless you want to wait for John.
Give him a few minutes, please.
Okay. All right. Mark Wynn's not here yet. Shannon, do you have anything for us today? Okay. All right. So. All right. Did you gentlemen have any reports from? Anything else on the auction coming up at Golden Meadows?
I just had a discussion with Shannon and Brenda yesterday, and I know they met with Pete, and he's got a list of things, and he needed pictures, and other than that, I think everything's on the go.
So he knows what to sell and what not to
Yes.
sell.
See this evening.
Okay.
Good.
So in the end, are we gonna sell then all that kitchen equipment and stuff?
Yes.
The assumption at this point is that we're not gonna put that home back into use, so that's,
Well,
to me, that's a decision that, once that decision's made, then that impacts all the things we're gonna sell. Except for things that are pertinent to keeping the building as healthy as we can until we decide what to do with it.
Let's see,
Yeah.
get email on his phone. and see-
we're taking the generator away, so that really
Right.
basically cuts that right down to.
Right. The pump that Shannon mentioned was not a pump that is currently in use.
No, it's a
there.
brand new pump.
That's a pump sitting there in the
Yes.
corner, right?
Yeah, remember we seen it in the
Yeah.
crate still.
Yeah, so we're looking at middle of September probably.
September 14th.
14th, all right.
Good deal.
Yeah, that's a good question. Hey, Ian,
September 14th,
you're
I
not
think,
on
yes.
the agenda. Do you have anything for us as far as? Okay. We're gonna try to call Mark.
Hey Brad, do you guys have anything in highway department you want to put in that auction? No.
No, we got a old air compressor, but that's not the place to sell an air compressor at.
I told him to try and.
Years ago, we had a hot tub.
Really?
I don't know where it came from. I don't think Pullman had it. Sure how we had a hot tub. We did have a hot tub.
It is 14 probably. Yeah.
Yeah. Get down to one of our buildings.
Why we have them?
Hurry, you're looking to kill a little time, I did find
My wife asked if she could sell me.
Yeah, if you'd like to come up.
No reserve.
Last week, Becky and I went to that roundtable in Auburn.
Okay,
With
sure.
Representative Tressel, he's the, I think the chairman of the Transportation Committee or something like that. And what it was just a lot of the counties and city representatives came and we all met. And it was just ideas and discussion on the future of funding, seeing as how more and more electric vehicles are coming and that's what they're pushing for.
Yeah.
So they have no answers yet, but they're looking for ideas on ways to fund things if, the gas tax revenue goes down. So it was a really good session. We were up there for a couple hours and it could have went longer. But it was a good session, a lot of good questions. We discussed community crossings a little bit because there's been rumors of that going away. But if it goes away, it wouldn't go away, but the money they
In a
can
different way.
divvy it up among the counties and cities and towns. So it was a very good meeting, a lot of good input. But at this point, they really have no idea what direction they're gonna head.
So was the general feeling of that group that, totally electric vehicles are gonna become a larger share of the market than what they are now?
Yeah, and he said it already has increased in the last so many years. The electric vehicles out there have increased.
Yeah,
But
but
I
I'm
don't-
looking ahead,
Yeah, I
because
don't,
I know sales have been dropping on
Yeah.
those.
myself personally, I don't see how we can do it. I really don't. The grid is not out there yet for it. So, but it was a really good discussion. One of the things, just a couple other states, I think it was Minnesota, has already instituted a additional delivery fee on all the major companies that deliver goods, packages to people's houses. It's a very small, but if you figure all the packages that we deliver, they're running on all of our roads, using our roads. And so that was just an idea that was thrown out. Like I said, there's nothing set yet, but
You would think that there might come a way that they could assess a volume tax on those, when I pull up to a commercial charging station to charge my EV, you would think there would be a tax that might be associated with that
yeah.
bill, just as there is when I fill my car up with gasoline.
Yep.
I would think there's a way to make that happen. They just have to figure it out.
Yeah, they haven't figured it out. Like I said, Minnesota did it. Colorado's looking into it and seeing what they can do. Unfortunately though, of course, whatever little fee you put on for each package is going to get handed back to the consumer. So. Yeah. So right now, they don't have an idea. They're looking for ideas, so, yeah. But like I said, very good discussion. It went well.
Good. Appreciate you going.
Yep,
Interesting.
it is. It's going to
Very
get
interesting.
really interesting.
Oh, yeah, especially what you're telling me, the states that are thinking about doing this, and then you hear the comments that are coming out of the DNC. So,
Yeah, like I said, that was just something that was thrown out and discussed. They haven't really thought about it that much. So, yeah.
interesting.
Yep.
Well, and a couple of years ago at the commissioners conference, they talked about the federal money that was gonna come into the state to put charging stations no farther apart than 50 miles
Yeah.
on the major highways. And I don't know if there's been anything.
I haven't heard, since they talked about that, I haven't heard a word about it. I haven't seen any construction that would tell you that, hey, it's happening. I haven't seen it.
Yeah. And that was only on interstate highways.
Yes, like you said, it was like within every 50 miles of the exit or something like that. Yeah. Yep. So,
Interesting.
yeah. There you go. I hope I helped kill some time for you.
Where was the meeting held, Brad?
In Auburn, at the Cruise Plaza.
This was a regional grouping of people.
Yeah, northeast.
I just texted these just to let you know we're running ahead, so for what that's worth.
I talked to him this morning.
You can
asked
do
him to
that.
come a
A
little
lot of
earlier
cars
just
take
in
5
case.
hours. Charge
Yeah,
$50.
Yeah.
Charge 10, like Steve said, charge 10.
If it'd be that simple, but it'd have to be added on and then they'd have to divvy it out. and
Might charge $10 an hour to plug in,
Maybe.
and that'd be,
We figured out how to get it out of the gas pumps. We'll
Yeah.
figure out how to get it out of the electric charging stations.
Anyhow,
Yeah. One of the things I guess, not to pick on Ian, but, he's kind of sitting over
He's
there.
It's an easy target.
We are putting together, or Ian is putting together, a meeting of the opioid steering committee, because there have been multiple grant applications that have come through
Good.
for the money that we allotted, for that. And so, I don't know, what the dates are yet, but, hopefully we'll be coming ahead with that. And so then, if we have pretty good attendance at that meeting, hopefully there will be recommendations come out of that, that'll come back to the commissioners here.
Right, I'd like to get it on council's agenda for the appropriation side of things for the next month. So hopefully we can get things next Thursday, get things resolved from the committee standpoint, come back to you probably the first of September. Go from there. So did have quite a few grant requests from a variety of different organizations. So unlike last year where it was just
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
we've got some very difficult decisions to make because there's
I like
far more
that.
being asked for than what we've said we're going to allow, so.
It's a good thing.
Which is exciting.
Yes, it
It's
is.
a hard thing to do.
Yeah. Well, and it's an exciting opportunity with that money coming back to the county and,
Yeah.
it's up to us to make the best use of it that we possibly can. So, yeah. So.
Mark said he'd be down in 5 minutes.
Okay.
We can go ahead and go if you want us to.
Okay.
Maybe John will walk in when you're
Probably, just.
right in the middle.
finishing up.
Yeah. Good
Pictures.
morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. So the reason we are here today is because EMA has responsibility for the decon trailer that we currently have.
Okay.
Adams County Commissioners has the title for it. This trailer, there's a couple of pictures there, is 20 feet long. It's tongue heavy. We have a lot of equipment in there that we don't need any longer. For instance, we have over 20 of the wood backboards. Stan, so I think you know about that part of it.
Oh, yeah.
But
They're
there's,
probably 40 years old.
yes, yes. But what we would like to do is either sell or trade this trailer and get something smaller that we can actually pull with the Tahoe, the EMA top. This trailer, we have to call somebody from another fire department or law enforcement to be able to pull it because we can't even take it to a scene. So what we would like to do is, like I said, either trade it or sell it.
What were they pulling it with when they bought it? I mean, that, for that heavy of a trailer, somebody must have
It
had
took
it.
them 250 or 2,500 to pull it.
Okay,
And it was purchased in 2005.
right, okay.
I mean, it's been around for a while, and it's still in decent shape, except the brakes don't work at all. But Chris Burkhart has kept it inside their fire department all this time. He takes it out and, moves it around a little bit once in a while. But what we would like to do is get something smaller that we can pull, and we would like to label that trailer then as a decon/incident command center, so that we could use it for multiple things. Megan and I are trying to get EMA's name out there in the public more, not only for emergencies, but just so people know who we are and what we do. So we would like to be able to pull this trailer like the Swiss Days,
Sure.
4-H Fair, Californian, any small towns when they have their festivals, because law enforcement and fire could use it as an incident command if they needed to.
Where have we been having incident command up until this point?
The EOC or.
Just in the, but I mean, nothing on the scene at all.
Only if, well, whoever's first on the scene, would organize the situation, then they would get a hold of us and we would open up the EOC in the building if we needed
Gotcha.
to. So we have dreams of what we think this trailer could be used for, a lot more than what it's used now. But we need your permission for one, to either get rid of it somehow. And then we have to figure out which we've been told we probably will never get an equal trade on another trailer because of the age of this one. But we may, need to find some funds then to pay for the difference. So we just want to get your thoughts on it.
Makes sense to me. If you've got something we can't pull,
Right.
let's trade it out for something we can.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I appreciate you reimagining the use to be something that's more relevant to what you need.
Yeah. I mean, again, we're trying to get the EMA name out so people actually understand, we're there to support and be helpful and resources and all that kind of stuff. But we can't pull that trailer, and it's not fair to ask another department to give up their time to pull it and then bring it back.
Especially when you're in the middle of an emergency of some kind.
Exactly, yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's where we're at.
I wonder if it'd pay us to do any work on those brakes before we traded it in.
I don't
Maybe
know
we
that.
did.
There's also a lock on the trailer that is rusted out that would need fixed too. That's not able to lock.
Do you got any prices or anything on a trade-in value?
So we went and looked at 3 different trailers. He hasn't made it to Monroe Fire to give a quote
From
on
Indiana.
that trailer yet.
Okay.
Good. I provided a page with the length and sizes.
Yep.
He didn't give us the stock numbers on those trailers, but from what I looked at on their website, the shortest one was roughly 6,700
Okay.
and the longest one was 9,500 roughly.
So we have a little bit of concern about the length, but we really have more concern about the width of it. Because what we have now in our current trailer is we have one decon shower that is 2 or 3 stalls, and then we have 2 single decon showers by themselves. The big one, it takes 4 to 6 people to set it up on a scene. So we would like to completely get rid of that one, plus it's as old as this trailer is, and then just stick with the smaller ones, which will take up a lot less space. But we feel if we can get a little bit wider trailer, then we'll have room to do maybe a drop-down desk, TV screen, internet, heat, air conditioning eventually, when we can afford it, so that it could actually be used as incident command in inclement weather.
Well, and I don't know what the towing capacity of that Tahoe is, but I assume that as you kind of replace vehicles, you probably stay with something similar, so, and that towing weight is gonna be, once the trailer's loaded, so you're gonna have to kind of figure out what you can pull with it and what you can't, and then go from there, I suppose.
And the good news is you don't have to pull it very far.
No, well,
That's, I mean, I know a 7,000-pound GVW trailer, half ton can pull it, just not up a mountain. So that's, you've got a little bit of consideration there, where you're going to need to pull it to and how far you need to pull it, so.
but anyway, we do have a decon trailer subcommittee through the LEPC and EMA. Brad is part of that committee. Megan speaks more trailer than I do, but, the subcommittee has helped to look at the trailer, evaluate it, really talk about how much floor space we need inside. What is the best thing to do for
You're
the
not gonna
county?
haul horses, sorry.
I mean, they fit.
I love where you're going with it. I don't know what you need from us, but you got my
What
support.
do we need to do to sign off on this title for a trade-in?
Well, they just need to go get some, post for replacement and get trade-in values. I know, have you talked
Go
to
do
any
it.
of the trailer sales too?
We talked to him, he hasn't given us a quote yet. We're
Okay.
still waiting for him to make it out to Monroe Fire.
Sure.
He wants to look at it and have.
Do we need multiple bids?
Yeah, you ought to get at least 3 quotes.
Okay.
But, I mean, another possibility is, maybe get some numbers on trade-in, and if the trade-in values are really, really low, maybe you put it in the auction.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. We maybe go out and see what a new trailer would cost straight out and not even trade in and throw it in that auction. You might get more. I
You
don't know.
might get more at the auction instead of a trade-in value. Because when that
We have
gets,
that option coming up. We might as well take advantage of it.
yeah, you go to trade that in, you're gonna get minimal trade-in value because they're gonna turn around and fix it up a little and mark it up and sell it. Somebody might buy it direct at the auction.
Even with that brake repair, I think that would make somebody a nice.
Yeah.
It's been well
It's
taken
great.
care of.
Yeah.
It's hardly been out.
Yeah, it's hard to do.
Yeah.
You might get more at an auction than a trade-in just because of the condition of the trailer.
Okay.
I would say if you want to make a motion that they pursue this and seek quotes or options or whatever, for my office's purpose, all we're gonna need is, if you get rid of something and add something, we need that for capital assets. That's all.
So yeah, get some quotes and include a trade-in value with those, and if you're not happy with the trade-in values you're getting, then consider putting it on the auction, I suppose. The sooner the better,
Honestly, when do you
so,
know for the auction?
what's that?
When do you need to know if it's gonna go in the auction?
Does Pete have a deadline for advertising? Because,
I know he's going to be advertising soon, so I don't know if you maybe work on it this week, maybe first of next week. Let us know.
maybe let him know that you might have something big.
I'll kind of let him know that this is a possibility, if you get back with us one way or the other.
So another challenge we may have is if we don't get enough out of this trailer to pay for the new trailer, we don't have the money in our budget right now.
Suppose there's any grant funding around for anything like this
Well,
that we could
We do have,
pursue?
the HMEP grant just opened up, and it's possible that we can ask for that to cover that grant.
This feels to me like something that there should be some grant money available for.
So for the SHSP grant, we requested an incident command trailer, but we were denied that. we might be able to try it for the HMAP because that's a hazardous chemical.
Okay.
And with this being a decon
There you go.
trailer and it's
Yeah,
supposed to
the
be for
decon piece of it. Fits in.
transportation, we try to write for the difference for that.
Yeah.
So that's the two requirements for the HMEP. We could write multiple grants and they each have a cap of 20,000. The two requirements are it has to be directly related to hazardous chemicals and it has to be transportation related.
Well, the urgency right now is if you're gonna put it on the auction or not. So, you know, that may be your best outcome as far as getting the most for it you can. So I guess maybe work on that first and see if you can get some numbers.
Okay.
Is there a way to put it like a reserve on it at the
I'm
auction?
sure there would be. We wouldn't have to
Oh.
sell it.
Like
Yeah.
if we could get it at least to like the trade out.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
if you
yeah.
get a trade-in value and then set that as your minimum, and that feels
Oh,
like it makes all the sense in the world to me.
Yeah, it has to be advertised that way. So Pete advertises the entire auction as without reserve, which I think is what I saw.
Yes, that's what it would.
Then the specific item would have to be listed with reserve.
Good point.
So when that goes on the block, then the auctioneer would just have to announce that this item is with reserve. And then you set that reserve at a reasonable, amount. But it sounds like it's not a piece of equipment that's being utilized at the present time anyway. So
Right.
probably whatever is gonna net the most is the way you go. And if it looks like running it through the auction stands the best bet of getting the most value out of it, then I would just get that done. Now you've got the funds, now worry about coming up with the funds you need for the replacement trailer.
Yes, I think that sounds perfect.
Okay.
All right,
Good,
thank
very
you.
good. I will just take this information and get this to Pete. Is that all right? This here,
Yes.
identification of the trailer in this. And you say the brakes are bad in it and a lock needs replaced. Okay.
And if you need
If he
more-
needs a picture of it, where is the trailer located?
Monroe Fire. If
Monroe
we
Fire.
need to, we can go out and get pictures, other
Okay.
pictures.
But we have a lot more pictures of the interior as well as the exterior. So if he wants more pictures, you
Okay.
guys can just let us know and we'll email.
Well, and if you go for a quote from the trailer sales in town and the trailer sales up on 69, and you probably know others. But, yeah, as quick as you could get something back, that would help Pete, help
We'll
advertise.
get a hold of Josh yet this week
So,
at any other trailer sales.
Okay.
Because
You have my number that you can
Yeah.
get a hold of me or email me one or the other. Okay.
he made the commitment to come look at it. We just haven't been able to get the date firmed up yet.
okay.
But sooner the better, than later would be better.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before you go, you said the second bid was like 9,700, why did you get that second bid? The two bids,
The largest one is-
and the small is 6,700. Also, this thing weighs 7,000 pounds, is that what it weighs?
All right.
Tell me.
Mark, if you want to come.
And what did they use for in the past? What's the use of it been? Is there showers in there? The fire hydrant, the wash?
Hey, Eric,
Only us, just.
if you want to interview further, you might want to head out in the hallway. So.
We don't need a trailer. Yeah, trailer with the project. I stuck there.
When's up again?
All right, Mark, you want to come on up?
Is that a question?
Well, maybe I shouldn't have put it that way. All right. Oh, sure, you're taking the good news first.
Oh, we were busy last month. As you can see. We have 53 permits. Hundreds of inspections. This has been busy. Last Thursday, we had a BZA hearing and
We've never had this thing before. We had 10 items on the agenda.
Really?
Just Board of Zoning Appeals.
Wow. Yeah.
Luckily, we didn't have any plan commission hearings, so we were able to.
Do you have good attendance from the board members? Good. That makes for better discussion and.
Yep.
Yeah. Very good. Any question on the building and locations permit?
Nope, I'm
Okay.
good. Make motion to accept the report.
All right. Very good. Another thing that's obviously been on people's minds and noses for the last couple of weeks, we've had pretty strong odor coming from, and I think we've located the source, which was a commercial lagoon that was permitted out north and west of Decatur. So we've been looking into that, driven past, even up to the lagoon. We've been talking to Mark Wynn about it, who, it was actually not permitted through our local plan commission. It was permitted through Indiana Department of Environmental Management. And so I think Mark's been in contact with them. So I haven't had a chance to return all the messages and all the calls that I've gotten about this subject, but I've tried to return the most of them. So we have been looking into it, and Mark's been looking into it. So we're trying to determine what happened, how it happened, if it was appropriate, inappropriate, whatever. And so I appreciate his help on this. And if you'd like to kind of fill us in on some of the details of what you have heard and what you have done.
Appropriate or inappropriate is still in question. There's a possibility that something went wrong, but there's also a possibility it didn't. What I do know is I contacted the state chemist office, and I contacted IDEM, and
I'm your neighbor. I'm sorry. I wanted to hear.
okay.
Okay. You want to introduce yourself if you're,
I'm Tonda Whitty. I live right across the road.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure I could.
okay,
I don't know much, but what I can tell you is that I contacted the state chemist, and they deal with setbacks, application rates, and licensing for applying and transporting. And IDEM permits the pond itself. And they receive testing of what's in the pond, and they're supposed to keep an eye on how full it is, because there's always supposed to be so many thousands of gallons available for emergency. And so I sent an email to both. IDEM hasn't contacted me, returned my email, but they have talked to the state chemist. State chemist talked to him last night, and he said that they don't have any official findings yet. That's still coming. But they did send a fertilizer control specialist on site and spoke to the Drods. And again, they're going to investigate setbacks, application rates, and licensing, which they're licensed. They're in the park. And the IDEM is looking into the testing of the actual product that's in the pond and to see if it's wrong. Because there has been, I can tell you this, that there has been product taken to the pond that came from Bungie. That was some waste product that they have when they're done with their processing. And the question mark is that appropriate to be in that pond or not?
well,
And
and
we
that's
don't
what I
know
was
yet.
going to ask. I assume that when the pond was permitted, there were certain parameters, as even though it was a commercial lagoon, I'm sure there were certain parameters on what products they could accept.
I assume so, but I can tell everybody in here that we don't regulate any of that. We've been told a long time ago we can't do anything with manure, so this is all a state thing. But they are all aware, and they are all looking into it. As soon as I have those answers, you'll get them.
And the intention of this lagoon and the disposal of this lagoon was to be able to apply it to farm ground per appropriate rates and application methods, so.
The number one reason for these being built, for them to be pushed by the state to be built, was for people that had sewage pits that would get full, and it's not the time of year where they can apply it. But they gotta get it out. It's
Now,
gonna get up.
you're not talking human septage, you're
No, no.
talking.
No. We're talking, most liquid stuff is hog buildings have liquid. There are some duck buildings that have liquid manure pits. And if you mistime things, you can have a full pit and it's frozen ground, or it's middle of winter, or the crops are all on. And if you don't get your timing done right, you have nowhere to go, but it's gonna keep coming up and the animals are in there. So you gotta get it out. This is designed to take that. Now, they can bring stuff from other places. Their thing with IDEM is they had to maintain, I don't remember the numbers, but I think it was don't quote me. I think it's an 8 million gallon, and they're supposed to always have at least 2 million available. The pump. Something like that. So they can bring in from, people for other reasons. It's not to be an emergency. It's not like it just sits there empty, hoping there's an emergency. They can bring it in and then use it wherever. I think some gets like trucked out, like gone, out of the county if somebody wants it and needs it. But the idea is there was a certain level of gallons always available for somebody that had an emergency to get it out of the pit to protect the animals.
So at this point, we are waiting on a report from the state chemist to get back to IDEM to see if they fall within the parameters of what they've accepted. And hopefully IDEM will also investigate the pit, whether it was full to capacity or within those parameters, and also the application types and rates.
Yep, application and rates is going to be a report from the state chemist. The handling of the pond and what's in it is IDEM, and it's two different separate reports, two separate entities. Hopefully we'll see something from both of them.
So as far as the Adams County Plan Commission, we don't have any control
Not over that.
over that commercial installation.
Can't they add in a chemical to hold the smell back though?
I was told that they did bring a chemical in from Texas that they found. It was supposed to make the smell go away. And again, I wasn't out there, so I don't know if this is all accurate.
Don't quote him on that.
Don't quote me on this. But I do know they did order product. I do know they put it in, and I was told it actually worked, but then they decided to apply, and then it all came back. That's when the smell was the worst, when they pulled it out. From the time they applied the new product into the pond, supposedly the smell dropped dramatically. But then when they stirred it back up and put it on the field is when it got to its worst ever. And that's when all the calls happened. So,
Which right now, their only option to empty the lagoon is to apply with the knife in method.
no, you can spray it on top, and they did spray it on top. It wasn't knifed in. Because I looked into that. And you're allowed to do that. Again, so many feet from different things, but there's also the rates. So you have to, there's setbacks and there's rate application.
But once it's applied on top, you have so long to get it incorporated in.
You don't have to, because they put it on top all the time on fields that are wheat and
hay.
And that's never incorporated in. Now, I think because of the issues, I heard that they went ahead and did incorporate it in like a day or two later, that they might have taken some equipment out there and worked it down in, but you don't have to.
As far as I can hear you saying, everything I don't know, don't quote me, you don't have any answers. You're not very helpful. Everything you say is, oops, not me. I don't know, don't quote me. I can't help you. Oops,
I have nothing in the pond. They asked me to get a hold of the entities that do, which is IDEM and the state chemist, which is what I just said. And when they get back to us, we'll tell you.
Well, I think,
I don't know what else to do.
I think Mark has gone over and above because it's really not an issue for the county building and planning. But we have asked him to help because he's got connections with both IDEM and the state chemist's office that we don't necessarily share. So I don't see Mark as making excuses or backing away from any
I get
responsibility.
that too, and I also, same here.
Yeah. So,
It's also hard, we live directly across. We also have a problem with, when this all came up,
yeah,
there was the setback to our front door and the size of the pond, or shit pit, whatever you want to call it logistically. You all made the decision for the size of the pond and our front door, because it's not anybody else's front door, it's our front door. How many feet? So what you decided to do was go, oh, okay, we can't change our front door. You took the measuring tape and said, we'll just start measuring from a different spot. Magically, our front door was far enough away now.
yeah, I guess I was not part of that through the plan commission or through the commissioners.
You know,
And I'm not sure how that decision was made.
yeah, you just changed where you measured from and magically our front door was in a different
And
spot.
I'm
We
not,
didn't move our house.
that's quite an accusation to say that.
It's not an accusation, it is fact.
It is an
It's
accusation.
our front door did not move.
So,
Well, that's not quite accurate.
Yes, it is. Our front door has not moved.
That's not what I said.
yeah,
What you said was not. So
Yes, it is.
there
Our
was,
front door has
there
not moved.
was. Tell you how that worked. So there is a certain setback you're supposed to keep between the pond and a neighboring home. And just like the variances, we had 10 of them at BZA on last Thursday, there was an application for building the pond closer than what was required by ordinance that went through Board of Zoning Appeals and it got approved. We didn't remeasure or change where we measured from. They asked for a shorter measure. And it was granted. That's how it went. They didn't measure for that spot.
You did, because when you're measuring and all of a sudden you need a different footage.
They asked for a lower footage, you know, that was than what's allowed. And they put it in front of the Board of Zoning Appeals and it was granted.
If it's
The
coming up,
issue of the permit and the construction of the pond is in the past.
I know,
It's
because,
approved. Now we're dealing with
I know.
application.
but, so if the smell's bothering everybody, just take the flag or however you want to say the wind's blowing and just move it, hold it over here and the wind's blowing from a different direction, your problem's solved.
yeah,
You're not helping, you know,
Focus
just,
now on dealing with IM and state
I know.
office. Let's try to figure out what's going on. When was this pond installed, Mark?
I think it's about 4 years old.
Okay.
I think.
I think from memory, that sounds about right too. So.
It's about
We-
2020.
we can't hang laundry out, we can't mow the yard, we can't play in the swing set. It's every day, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. There's, at night, trucks are coming in. There's all the time. Every day, day and night, trucks are coming in. The smell is there all the time. There's all sorts of products coming in from everywhere. And now that people far and wide are complaining about it, now it's an issue.
Does it have to be recorded what goes in that lagoon?
It had nothing to do with my office, so I don't know how to tell you.
Somebody, nobody
None of
knows.
this has to do with my office, but I'm just trying to get the people that have the answers to give me the answers.
Well, I appreciate that,
I feel
Mark.
like
I
I'm on the
appreciate,
seat and I'm not
No,
even.
no,
not.
no, I
No, I'm
appreciate,
just-
I appreciate the fact that you contacted the state chemist's office and IDEM. You've done your job,
I
Mark.
understand. I don't know what else to do.
Until,
I'm trying.
Ma'am,
It's the first time I had a complaint, so I'm trying.
we're trying to solve this, and we're trying to do it in an organized way. And I understand your situation, because I've been to your house, and I can appreciate that. But we are where we are, and like Mark Burry has said, the location of the pond is a decision that was made in the past, and we can't change that. What we're trying to do is ensure that we have the least problems moving forward that we can by the way of what they're taking in the pond, how they're handling the pond, and how they're doing their applications. So we're doing the best we can right now.
I appreciate
So-
that, but I don't have much faith in that because from what I see and do and know, it's worthless because it doesn't matter. Now, my quality has gone down completely. I can't sell my house. It's worthless. It's across from shit pit. Grandkids don't want to go outside and play in the yard anymore because it stinks. I can't hang laundry out. We can't mow. I have migraines. It's miserable. At night, you see trucks coming in and out and the smell. There is nothing you can do. You can't have friends over because it smells. You can't. It's absolutely miserable. And the trucks going, and it's fine. They can see each other coming and going with the dust, the smell. You know what? They got to toot the horn to let each other know they're there too.
Have you talked to anybody from the state?
And tell them what?
Have you,
Filed a complaint.
filed a complaint with, I mean, this is a permit through the Indiana Department of Environmental Management. Have you talked to them?
No, tell them what? Because it's gone through, it's done. Nobody cares. All they say is, yeah, it's there.
Well, have you, because the last time I talked to anybody from the IDEM, their position, well, and this was in reference to another issue, but their position was they cannot go out and investigate every manure handling situation, but they are complaint driven. So I guess my suggestion is, since this is a state permitted facility, talk to the state. We're doing everything we can from our end. So if this is your situation and this is your reality, and if you truly want to solve this, and if it's truly something that's a burden for you and your family, talk to the state.
Then can you get me to the right person? Because I can't get to
They
the
have a
right
website.
person.
That's how I found out who to talk to. I went to their website. I went to the state website. I went to IDEM's page. I talked to the state chemist down there, and this, like I say, this was over another issue. You have the same opportunity that I do. I mean, we are using Mark because he has connections and he is talking to the state chemist. They came out and took samples. They're gonna report to IDEM. They're working on it. If you call IDEM, if your neighbors call IDEM, those are complaints that are gonna have to register with them as they've permitted this facility. So I would say, even, obviously, you don't trust Mark, you don't trust us, you don't trust anybody that's trying to handle this, call them yourself. And I'm not trying to pass the buck. I'm saying you have a legitimate complaint, you have a legitimate burden, you just need to go to the people that can actually control it. So that's my suggestion, is go to IDEM, file a complaint, talk to them. It's a legitimate complaint. I'm not disputing anything you say. But if you truly want to get to the source of it, that would be my suggestion. And I'm not saying that to pass the buck. I'm saying that to get directly to the people that can either chain the gate shut and put a stop to it or whatever. I mean, those are the people that control that installation right now.
Gonna go away.
So that's my suggestion. So I appreciate you coming in and so I don't know, Clayton, Mark, I don't know if there's any other suggestion that I could make at this point.
So I understand. I'm sure it's very frustrating. Yeah,
I would love to invite you all to come over for a barbecue and stay at my house for a week.
So,
call IDEM and call the state chemist's office, absolutely.
I'd love you all to just come over for a couple days a week and just, let's camp out. Let's stay at my office for a little bit, because none of it's gonna change, none of it's gonna anything.
Well, I do thank you for your input. That's my suggestion. Now you know exactly what we're doing. So I think we're gonna have to move on here, so.
Thank you for your time,
Yeah.
and it's not, I'm not trying to get on you, I'm not trying to get on Gerard's, I'm not nothing, but none of it's gonna change, nobody's gonna nothing.
Just for the record, I've never heard any complaints the last 2 weeks, ever, since it got put in. So if you've had these issues, I wish we'd have known. I believe you, but we've never heard it. How we-
It's all over, it's,
I never heard it. So I don't know how we didn't not respond to anything because we didn't know there was something to respond to. So we're trying now.
well, I mean,
But that's the IDEM people I email.
it's like, who are you supposed to tell, because nobody does anything about it, there's nothing, nobody can.
They
It's
can't.
big enough, nobody can do
Reports come
anything.
back.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark, how many
Thanks, Mark.
acres is this lagoon thing?
Honda, T-O-N-D-A.
I'll go check.
I'll
make a check.
Any other guys?
T-O-N-D-A, you're right.
Well,
I got that, I know, it's winning. You know how big the market is in big? Roughly?
I'll have to measure it.
Can't
Well,
be
yeah,
done.
sure, I'm fine.
Hey, Jim, we're gonna keep moving on here, so, all right.
The track that it's located on. Guess how big the pond is?
Yeah, the manure is.
Well, I have to measure it. It's-
Rods would know that.
Go out and walk it off there. Go out and walk it off and see how big it is there.
Yeah, there's one, yeah, I don't know.
Take a yardstick.
Okay.
Close.
I'm gonna ask Stan, do you think there's cow manure in there too? I'm gonna ask Mark about that. They mentioned duck and hog manure. Is there cow manure out
You gotta
there?
remember, Mark said he doesn't know anything absolutely because it's the state chemist and IDEM that regulates that.
Well,
He
mentioned
is
cow and
just,
Duck, went earlier, and that was before he said he didn't know.
The state chemist that took the results, like Mark just said, the state chemist's test, the results haven't come in yet. So
I would tell you what kind of manure it is.
it should, I would assume. I'm not the state chemist. But again, I don't think for the commissioners to speculate what's in there or for even Mark would be inappropriate. Again, it's completely out of their jurisdiction. It's the state chemist, it's IDEM's jurisdiction. They would be the ones that should answer. In reality, all the commissioners were trying to do was provide information to the public regarding it. It's not a jurisdictional thing for the commissioners. It's really more of a kindness to keep the public updated.
The actual pond itself measured on the GIS.
Yeah.
Approximately, it looks like it's much bigger.
About 2 acres.
But it's about 2 acres.
What is that in dimensions as far as square footage or? What's an acre?
Ask Google.
I don't know.
Ask AI.
Any other reports from you,
I have nothing.
gentlemen?
I have nothing.
Okay. All right.
But I remember this has been a number of years ago. The county was trying to be more regulatory.
Responsible.
Over intensive livestock operations, storage and spreading of manure. And so we had an ordinance that was designed to be more restricted, farther setbacks. And we were in the process of putting that in place. And Farm Bureau through IDEM, I think the state's chemist office came up to the meetings and said, they passed a statute that said the state is in control of this now and you will not adopt that ordinance. If you do, it's void and you don't have authority to regulate this.
And that would have been a stricter ordinance, would have been a tighter.
Yes, it was. Okay, and the state specifically came up here and said, you can't do it and stop it.
Really?
Hands off. So that's where we're at.
Well, and sometimes that's the frustrating thing where, and I've spoke to this different times with our representatives as far as being able to have local control because, the state likes to set broad parameters for every county across the state, and every county across the state is not the same. So we always appreciate having local control of those ordinances when we can. So, all right, anything else from the general public?
That's why I'm here, is,
Okay, you're welcome to come up if you'd like to.
we've dealt with it, we do live down the road on 750 as well. We've dealt with it. This year seems to be a little worse. I know I smelled it at our house. I smelled it on 27, taking the kids to school in the past. I smelled it at our office here in town. I guess I'm kind of glad it got all around town, because it did make it a little bit more aware for everybody else. I know I'm not nearly as close as Woody is, obviously. I'm from the country, been able to deal with that to a certain extent, but it's gotta be a different smell. There's gotta be something else in there, because that is not normal manure.
Yeah, I agree that smell that came across, it was not a typical.
That's kind of been all summer.
And I've grown up
But
with,
then they applied it, the fields, obviously it was worse. I think that's why it got all around town, was because of the application on the fields. And you can kind of see out there, it's definitely burnt. You can see where it was applied on their fields around that.
yeah.
So I'm interested to see what the,
Well, and actually, like we talked about with Mrs. Woody, kind of going back to IDEM, I think is complaint driven. So
yeah.
I guess I would encourage contacting them, and just generating a response.
I'm sure
from the
they
area.
didn't, this wasn't on their business plan model. For setting that
Yeah.
up, but I mean, keeping it contained to their original farm there on the corner, that's understandable. It's been there for a long time. The smell does not travel nearly as far, but when you start bringing stuff in from other states, I think, or a lot further around, and maybe not all manure, I mean, that just seems like you were asking for other problems, complaints from neighbors. So, yeah, if anybody around there has to try to sell their house, I think there's a house for sale out that way. That's gotta stink to try to, no pun intended, it's gotta be a hard sell to try to get the house value that you think it should be, when you go to sell. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's nothing you guys can do about it. I was hoping for more information than what Mark found there, but not his fault at all. And I appreciate him and you guys looking into it, but you can keep everybody posted.
Well, I'm just real curious what the state chemist comes back with and what their interaction with IDEM is, to see, how they handle it. And
Yeah.
it just seems like it was a bad combination of what was put into the pit, how the lagoon was handled, and how it was emptied and applied. So it just seems like, there was a confluence of things there that just went bad. So I would encourage anybody to contact IDEM and let them know how bad it is.
I mean, do we have a Sherrod representative here? Is there anybody here from that speak on it? Or does anybody have any more information?
Not that I.
With IDEM being a big boy to try to get anywhere with, but,
Yeah, but although, because the last time I talked to him was more in reference to the turkey manure piles, because those can get pretty rank too if they've sat there in the hot sun for a while.
yeah, I haven't brought it up before in the past, and I get it.
Yeah.
It's gonna get spread on the field, it's gonna stink for a little
But
bit, but it's not all summer, it's not all year.
That's what the guy told me at that time. He says, we don't go out and investigate all of this stuff, but we are complaint driven. So that's why I say, contact them.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
but thanks for speaking up, and we'll kind of continue to monitor it, keep in contact with the state as much as we can and see if there's anything that we can do to make it better. So, but yeah, thanks for coming in. All right, anything else?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you.